So when it comes to influencers, that's exactly me as an activist. When I speak, I always tell people, and I always tell these white quote unquote allies, if you are not taking these conversations home, you are not for us. You are not an ally.
Hey family, welcome to the Do You Know Black Kickback. This is the official after party to the game show, Do You Know Black. Here, we take questions from the game show, break them down, and have thought-provoking conversations with guests from the show. So we've got some great people here. We got a lot to talk about, including your show. But before we do that, let's take a look at how they performed.
In my defense, first off, you said Nigeria.
What is this, love and basketball?
You said Nigeria.
I don't know, where was it?
It was Ghana.
Ghana, my bad.
Everyone knew
Ghana.
it. Everyone was pulling up to Ghana.
My bad. I was set up. It was, we had a pack, a deal.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Because he built like a D3 football player. Look, I'm sorry, it's not personal, it's just business.
It's fine,
it's just
because
business.
it is personal now.
Wow.
It was great playing with you and everyone that I was playing with, and thanks for the opportunity. I love this.
Hey! Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm out. Yo.
You are. Give a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The winner right now. Come on.
A lot of smoke.
A lot of smoke.
Tell me about the smoke you saw.
I mean, so at one point, I was in the middle of a lot of smoke, and it was just really, there was a lot of tension and on both sides of me, and I just didn't know what to do because I was like, wow, who knew in this briefcase there was so much to be unleashed? Like,
Wait, briefcase.
Oh, you didn't know?
Mike Lowry? Mike Lowry, okay.
Briefcase.
Okay, Jay,
Yes.
what's going on with the briefcase?
So, the briefcase, right? You dig? I don't know, listen. My answer for what's in the briefcase changes every time somebody asks me what. So,
Okay,
What
so
about
then,
right now?
so right now, hopes and dreams.
Oh.
hopes and dreams. That sounds like an arrest warrant. Y'all better not be riding the same car as him. I'm telling you right now, he is riding dirty.
Chill, don't disrespect me like that.
I'm disrespecting the briefcase, not you.
It's okay.
Not you. All right, what's going on, Nia?
I mean, black women did it.
Y'all
That's
did
all
it.
I can say.
As in the last two in the game?
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, so y'all was plotting and scheming.
I mean, I wouldn't call it that. I would just say being strategic.
All right, tell me about the strategy.
I would say that I am a jack of all trades and I don't give out my secrets to anyone, so.
Hold on, the secret was to get the strongest player off the game second.
First.
Who was the strongest person?
The strongest person first.
Who's the strongest person?
Who was the strongest person?
Strongest person voted off second.
So how you ended up in the audience?
Because the strongest.
I don't get it.
The strongest person
I
voted
don't
off
get
It's
it.
been smoke all day.
It's like
I
we
love
walking
it.
in a project hallway, and I gotta get to my apartment, and it's just smoky. I'm like, oh, do I go through the fire escape? So, okay, school.
They jumped me. They all jumped me.
Whoa.
Not you.
Whoa,
No, I said them.
Okay.
You just throwing
They
out all
all
sorts of
jumped me.
fingers. You in the courtroom. Him.
I'm not even gonna
I
lie.
would
he
just
said-
like to say the answer will always be Ghana. I don't know.
Wait, so
Nigeria.
time out. So with that, can I address that question?
You should.
All right,
So what was the question?
so the return to
Africa.
Africa, it was everybody went to Ghana, but I said Nigeria.
So okay, all right, because this is a big thing. So we've got to break this down.
It is a big thing.
We have viewers who are like, what? By the way, please comment right now, viewers. What do you think about this?
I mean, it was
Absurd
bad,
answer.
but it was
Right.
bad. I can own that, but I do know.
So I just have a
acting-
question.
Yeah.
How are you going to live with yourself in the world
So I'm
when this comes out?
So there's a couple ladies that volunteered to give me some life coaching and stuff like that. So I'm definitely gonna sit on the couch somewhere, after this for probably about 3 weeks in a row, something like that. So I'm gonna get some counseling. I'm sorry.
Okay, so he's gonna go to counseling. He's gonna fix the issue. All right, no. I think it was an honest mistake. As a former contestant on the show, I had a slip up as well. It wasn't a brain fart. I just had a slip up. So I understand, but that's kind of hard, and I think you need to prepare a statement for that.
For sure.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
In my
cool.
defense, though, the other questions that they gave me were kind of hard, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
Nah,
all
for
right.
sure.
This is great, and we could talk about the game show a bunch more, but I want to go into a question that y'all had on the show so we can talk about it. So can we do that?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. As a matter of fact, I want to present it as a question and a challenge to somebody. Let's see if you were paying attention. Scoop, you got voted off first, right?
Unfortunately, yes. You got to take the strong player out first. So yes.
All right, bet. So I'm gonna, let's rewind.
Yeah.
Here we go, you ready?
Yeah.
This one's for you.
Gotcha.
All right. Don't let him down.
I'm gonna try not to.
Okay, all right. In 1996, what NBA player became the first to be suspended for refusing to stand for the national anthem?
So his name is originally Chris Jackson, converted and changed his name to Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. Played for the Denver Nuggets.
Oh, well, damn.
Wow, redemption. Wow.
Yeah,
Right
you
there.
did that.
Boom, you did that thing. Did that thing.
Showed us.
I'll give it to you. Okay.
That was good. He came through with the AKA.
What the heck?
It was so eloquent too.
You did? Okay,
It was
black
calm,
man.
cool, and collected, you know.
Calm, cool, collector. Right.
I know a little bit.
So just to provide a little bit of context for y'all here, okay? Abdul-Rauf was suspended and received a lot of backlash, even death threats for his actions. In recent years, other athletes have become more vocal and have received similar backlash. On one hand, these consequences have discouraged some athletes and public figures from getting involved in social justice issues out of fear of losing careers, endorsement deals, and public support. On the other hand, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, and O.J. Simpson all famously chose to focus on maintaining their public image and stayed quiet. Though Jordan and Woods privately donated to certain causes and later spoke more vocally in support. So we're gonna use that to be the discussion point of our theme here, of our show, and I like to just title it Taking a Stand. The first question I present to you, do athletes and prominent figures have an obligation to be vocal in their activism?
I think that no black person has an obligation to what people consider to be an activist. So many people have a depiction of what an activist looks like, marching in the streets, showing up with picket fences. And when it came to 2020, it was black screens all over our Instagram feeds.
Facts.
And when it comes to people who are athletes, you are already doing what activists would need you to do, being black. So it's exactly what black people are fighting for, the actuality to exist and be black inside of these spaces and be able to earn these awards, earn these medals, be able to do the sports you want to do. So I don't think that any black athlete has an obligation, but I do believe that people with platforms do have an obligation to speak out when there is an injustice, because there are so many people, grassroots organizers, people who are on the streets 24/7, black trans women, black women, black men, so many people who are out here who don't have the opportunity to be in these rooms with 13.4K million followers and all this other stuff when it comes to Instagram, Twitter. And that's the specific thing that comes with Gen Z and the generation that we are in now. We have so much leverage when it comes to social media that we have now. So it's just, why not? Just a simple story post. You know?
Okay, all right, that's a safe answer.
So to piggyback off of that, it's really about the platform. So I feel like the bigger the platform you have, it's hard to say if it should be their obligation, but it's just, you know, LeBron James should know that there's a bunch of little black girls and black boys and black fathers and black mothers that look to him to kind of, you know, hopefully you're setting a good example for my child on and off the court. And I, you know, what he's been doing, and I'm only using his name because, you know, he is one of our biggest athletes right now. And, you know, he's definitely been using his platform to speak out about, you know, a lot of things that have been going on for forever. And, you know, there's a lot of athletes who are also now becoming more comfortable with speaking out because they see. Everyone was like scared what happened with Colin, that it could happen with them. But now it's kind of like you can either, if you can't beat them, join them. And I think that more athletes, black athletes are leaning towards the side where, well, they can't really beat us at this point. So we're gonna keep speaking out until we literally can't anymore. But the more and more of us are speaking out, it's only gonna attract more people trying to do the same. And then at that point, now y'all just gotta jump on our wave. Like the NFL we now see is kind of taking the tables are turning a little bit. The message that they were sending, you know, with Colin is not the same tune that they're singing right now.
Yeah, okay, that's true. And I think y'all both raised, you know, equally good points. But just because someone is a celebrity or a successful athlete Top, does it mean that they have to be vocal in their activism?
See, my perspective on that is basically notoriety doesn't equate to knowledge. Notoriety doesn't equate to morality, right? So
can you talk about that first part a little bit more?
Yeah, so just because you're notable as a person doesn't mean you have knowledge on the subject. So you could be doing more damage than good. So you have to take it from an individual level, right?
So that knowledge piece that you talk about is so important. So
But I think we're
are
all
we
acquiring
giving,
that.
what'd you say?
I think that we're all acquiring that knowledge, even when it comes to social injustices that we can't particularly relate to, the same way I don't relate to the experiences of Black trans women, but I can relate to the experiences of being a Black woman in America, period, point blank. And when it comes to that, you just know you must speak up. If you see something is happening, you must speak up. So I don't think that you need to have notoriety. I don't think that you need to have the knowledge. But if you see something happening, you say something.
So your position is you don't have to be a celebrity.
You don't.
You can just be a human being.
It's humanity.
Just say, however, right? John Doe walking down Broadway and Fifth Ave doesn't have a following of 14 million people.
Come on,
so we got to talk about that. Talk about it, Jay.
All right, so listen, glasses coming off. And they're going away. Because here's the thing, right? And I really want to expand this conversation because I know we're talking about athletes, but even when you look at ESPN, the word entertain is in that, you know. So when we look at the word entertain, the suffix tain means to hold something in place, right? You attain, sustain, maintain, right? So when I look at the word entertain, when you're entertaining, you're holding something in place and you're putting something in it, right? So as entertainers, athletes are entertainers, okay? So as entertainers, we have a responsibility as influencers. For example, right? You got certain people who have more followers on their Instagram than there are the population in some countries. With networks with more than the GDP of some countries. Personal networks. Okay, so at that sense, like Beyonce is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is Jay-Z, and all these people have created these larger organisms. I love words. Corporation, the prefix of the word corporation is corpse. So it's like we have to look at the entities that these people build up because they have a responsibility. There's a reason why Miley Cyrus gets paid more than the president of the United States. It's because when she posts something, guess what? All millions of little girls are gonna do exactly what she's talking about. So I'm like, you gotta be aware. I hate when any artists are creative, be like, you know what? I'm not a role model. You shouldn't look to me to stuff. I'm like, that's just,
Right. Thanks for the word play. Appreciate it, all right? You brought up a point about folks wanting to back up. So that flies in the face of what we said about standing up, right? Get up, stand up for your right. Now we're like, well, everybody's not equipped. Are there people who we've seen, in recent history who spoke about something they had no business speaking about?
All the time.
Kanye West.
Okay.
oh my God.
All the time. I feel like that happens with anything that happens, anything that there's someone every day being talked about on Twitter because they said something stupid because they didn't know what we're talking about.
All you gotta do is mind your business.
Right, and I feel like some people, especially people with the platforms and with the following, the backside of it is that they always are gonna think they're right. And they're always going to think that their opinion is valid and they're speaking facts or they're dropping gems when honestly you're not.
But if they want to say, what if they feel what they're saying is right? Like they're like, I believe, and it's not to necessarily like clown another type of person or a group of people, but I do think that, this person may say, I think what I'm saying is right. I think I'm helping people. And they may not have the knowledge. I want to get you in a conversation here. What do we say to somebody like that, right? That's a Black person who has a position and a platform and followers and influence. We want them to say, or her, or they, to say something.
I'd rather somebody stay silent if they don't know what they're talking about than speak up loud and wrong. Because then at the end of the day, we have other eyes on this, you know what I mean? And then white people like, oh, see, look, he's aligned with us. He knows this, and then again, not to go back to the same dude, but Kanye is a perfect example of that. Like everything he was saying was wrong and he couldn't be more wrong. Everything, it's like somebody digging a grave and just like you get further and further down the hole.
I'm sorry.
Well, how much grace do we give someone who maybe not well?
You said, say it one more time?
How much grace do we give someone who may not be well?
Can we?
So
can
that's
we
one
talk
example.
about that?
So all right.
It's not necessarily, the show isn't about Kanye, but
Well,
we can
well,
take a second. We can take a second to talk about it.
Well, not even
Because
necessarily.
it's a big point in our culture.
Because to me, it's not necessarily even about Kanye, right? You know, we talk a lot about cancel culture and things like that. So you know what I'm into? Screw cancel culture. You know what I'm into? You want to know? Redemption culture. Because exactly what you just said. Grace. How much grace do we allot people? How much opportunity are we going to give someone to like make things right? Because at the end of the day, aren't we all human? We all gonna mess up. So here's the thing, with Kanye, the way I see Ye, he's a savant, right? Meaning that he's like a Rain Man. Obviously, homie is socially inept. He don't get stuff. It's the same thing that allowed for him to be on national TV and be like, George Bush doesn't care about black people. You dig? You know what I'm saying? So obviously, it's the same, it's that thing though, that allowed for us to like love him.
Well, right. So you bring up a really good point because we some people may disagree with him right now, right? But when he got up on that stage and used a platform that had nothing to do I'm sorry, Hurricane Katrina had a lot to do with black people.
For sure.
You know, in terms of the mistreatment of our people down in New Orleans, right, in the surrounding area. However, he used that platform, got on a national television, millions of people, tens of millions of people watching, said, such and such doesn't care about black people. That had been something that probably had never happened at that time, especially from somebody of that stature, right? So, we loved him then.
Right.
Do we still love him?
Because he believed what he said was right. And now, we're like, man.
Can I
So
hop in?
here's go
Can I hop
ahead.
in really quickly?
Go ahead.
I don't think that anyone is saying that, oh yeah, we hate Kanye or anything like that. I think that we all love our people. We all want to see black people win. Everyone who is black wants to see black people win. And if you are not, then you don't understand the culture, honestly.
Yeah.
You don't understand the history that we have went through and the future that we are trying to achieve. So I think that when we see the issues that are happening with Kanye and the conversations that are surrounding it, it is not just like, oh yeah, we're gonna throw him to the wolves or anything like that. I think it's just the fact of accountability. We cannot push it under the rug. We cannot ignore the fact that he has said these things.
Yep.
And it has harmed our community. It has harmed our culture. It has harmed so many people. We cannot ignore it. So even when it comes to redemption happens when there are conversations had about it. So I think these are the conversations that we need to have now, in the sense of just making sure that we are taking accountability, and not even us, himself. And that has not been a point that he has gotten to. So when that happens, yeah, Kanye, I still love you. I still will always love you because you are a black person and you are a black man. And that is what the history needs to be about, supporting black people.
Support black people.
Always.
So, very well said, very well said. So, Simone, what about non-black people
What do you mean?
who use their position, right, of influence to stand up for black people? How do we feel about that?
As long as it's not performative. I feel like you can tell when something's performative.
Can you give me some example of that?
So like, okay, perfect. It's 2020, all these brands that never had any Black Lives Matter, nothing, didn't even have like a heavy, with their marketing, didn't even really include black faces. And now all of a sudden it's, oh, Black Lives Matter this, and let's put up this on our social media. And it's like, oh, good, great that you're doing it now. But you see these makeup brands that even on their commercials, in their magazine advertising, they don't even have they're not even showing black women, black men. No.
Right.
Then now all of a sudden, you stick up for black people.
Oh, 2020, you saw black people didn't exist before that.
Right, exactly. So that's what I mean by when it's obviously performative, then nah, you could have just kept your 2 cents.
Follow up though. So I got pushed back because I love doing that. I want to push you, I want to challenge you. So if a brand out there is engaging in some performance in terms of how they're engaging with black people, right? I.e. 2020, there are certain products that like Band-Aids were like,
No,
not my skin tone.
color,
It was like this. But then in 2020, Band-Aids became my skin tone.
Skin tone, yep.
Are there benefits to going along with the play, right? Are there benefits to sometimes brands when they do that and make that reversal? And
No.
like, you know what? It benefits black people.
I think as long as they keep that same energy, honestly, I feel like if 2020 if everything that happened in 2020 is what it finally took for a lot of these big brands and big entertainers or, whoever, non-Black speaking, if this is what it took for them to finally, you know, open their eyes and, you know, take a stance on something, as long as, all right, if this is where you're starting and you only go up from here, then sure, it's, you know, kudos to you, you know, thank you for being on our team. But if it's, you know, 2023 and now that same talk that you were talking back in 2020 is completely out the window, and, you know, you're not even showing up for us in any kind of spaces. You know, the products you put out, the messages you put out, if all of that is no longer there, then it proves that this is just like performative, you know? But like I said, if they keep the same energy, and, you know, they continue to do the work and they continue to bridge a gap that is clearly there, then I can't really speak bad about that, because, you know, you're doing the work. It's not about you just trying to appease and, you know, make people happy. No, you're actually doing the work now, and you're going to continue it.
You know what it's like? It's like hot pocket activism. As in, like, it's microwavable. You dig what I'm saying? There's no real depth. You're not really digging in. You don't. How about this? Corporations, hire some Black people.
A friend of mine actually created what's called a Black Dollar Index, and that is a system where they hold companies accountable for their Black management, their upper management. So and then how many people they have employed there. Like, it's a total breakdown of everything. And it actually has gained like a ton of, like, she's been on CNBC, MSNBC, everywhere, because it was something that like kind of stood out to her because of the performative work that a lot of these corporations were doing. And she's like, okay, well, look, you guys are posting squares and doing all of this Black Lives Matter stuff. How many Black people are you employing? How many Black people are making decisions? Obviously, also, our culture is the currency.
Come on.
Everybody wants to kind of like figure out a way where they can cater to us in some sort of way, but it's fake.
Come on.
And it's just like, come on. Like, you were talking about performative people from like a celebrity standpoint.
Yep.
Justin Timberlake, he put up a post and turned the comments off. That's corny. Because he didn't want to get bombed for all of a sudden, because he's somebody that has completely eaten off the backs of Black culture. And then he goes and does this country album, it flops, and he come back now, he pop locking again. So it's like, come on, like what side of the fence are you playing on?
So I see people still buying. You say people don't like Kanye, but I still see people buying, listening to Kanye. Heck, I still listen to Kanye. I see folks continuing to go back once the hot pocket cools off. So what obligation do we have as consumers of media and of products to hold these corporations and people accountable?
Honestly, like everybody knows like Black people are like tend to be a little bit more forgiving than we probably should when we're disrespected. And the reason why these things keep happening is because we don't like stand on our moral ground and say, look, y'all can't do this type of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Same way like you were talking about the NFL. If a lot of like players, first off, that entire league dies if Black people do not engage in that sport. Same with NBA, same with MLB.
But people tried to cancel the NFL, right?
Yeah.
They tried to.
They tried. Like, people boycotted in their own ways and stuff like that. And I'm part of that too. You know, I cut down a lot.
What about the hundreds of Black players that are employed?
So that's the thing. So this is where like,
and the Blacks that work in the stands, in the arenas.
Right.
Making minimum wage.
Right. So there was a thing where, first off, shout out to the noobs. That's Colin Kaepernick. He was, you know, on the forefront of that whole thing. So we were kind of like very involved in that, obviously, because it's a fraternity brother, whatever. But it got to a point where a lot of us were just like, look, at some point the players have to want to do this too. Like, we can sit here and all 5 or 6 of us cannot watch a game. Okay, cool. That the NFL's pockets they're gonna stay lined. The thing is, at the end of the day, you guys are the ones that when I say you guys, I'm talking about players. You guys are the ones being disrespected. You guys have to like speak up, because the Houston Texans, Bob McNair, their old owner, said something super racist in a meeting, and DeAndre Hopkins and a lot of other players, they walked out of practice.
Yep.
And you know, that like got a rise out of something. But the thing is, more players needed to do stuff like that.
It's crazy, because at the end of the day, what we're talking about is a system. And I meant to say this earlier, because like, you know, I'm a recording artist, and I released a song in 2020 during the George Floyd protest entitled Kaepernick, you know, just inspired. But it's crazy, because I wrote that song years ago when I was 18. So it just lets you know how much hasn't changed. Because at the end of the day, it's like this, right? We talk about trying to change the system, but the thing is, The system's not broken. The system works for those who it's meant to work for. You feel what I'm saying? So what we're really asking is for America to have completely renew its vows, its values, so to speak. But that's hard, especially if someone's benefiting off it. That's like a dude copping GTA before it comes out, getting all the like the pre-merch type of stuff. Now he's all souped up, and then asking him to give that up when everybody else hops online. It's like, no, I'm not giving up my privilege. What are you talking about?
Sure.
But look, well, I want to add this real quick, right?
Yep.
Because black people don't realize the power that we have, right? We are a $15 trillion like people. Like if black America, if African Americans had their own nation, it'd be the 15th wealthiest nation in the world. So it's like, okay, guys, at what point are we gonna get together and like, you know, really have this economic conversation, you dig? So.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I have a question for you.
Oh.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
I wanna say, you know, you talk about black people and our buying power, and people vote with their wallets and with their feet. That's the two things I learned. People vote with their feet and with their wallet. The money you spend and where you go. That's it, okay? Where you choose to stay and where you choose to go. With that, you talked a little bit earlier about everyday people having just use your voice, use your platform. So let's talk about influencers really quickly. So in this day and age, influencers are more, it's like 10 of them are popping up every day, right? Or 10,000 are popping up every day. You have Facebook, then you've got the Snapchat, then you've got the TikTok. I don't know what else is next. Or what's current. I stopped at Instagram. I'm done. But with that, these platforms have allowed everyday people the ability to engage with millions of people, right? Some by chance, others by design. Do you feel that there's an obligation that influencers have in terms of activism?
Quickly, what I'll say is that social justice trickles up. It does not trickle down. So we need to start at the most disadvantaged people in America and make our way up, and that always starts with abolition. So before we talk about anything else, we need to root our conversation in abolition, because we need to know that the American system is working exactly how the American system is meant to work, exactly how you said it. It is working for exactly who it is meant to work for.
Right.
So as you bring up the idea of influencers, I don't believe in influencers. I think that everyone has an influence in this earth and on this world. I think that everyone has an impact. That's exactly why me as a Black woman growing up in America, I speak with intention, because although I may not be the person to change the world, the words that I speak may inspire the next person to change the world. I may inspire the next Martin Luther King,
right.
RBG, like anyone, Rosa Parks, anyone,
Talk
whoever is listening to me, I may inspire them just by off of words that I speak, because words have so much power in this world and it is so beautiful. But exactly what you speak, it exactly what can hurt you as well. So when it comes to influencers, that's exactly me as an activist. When I speak, I always tell people, and I always tell these white quote unquote allies, if you are not taking these conversations home, you are not for us. You are not an ally. As an ally, you need to make sure that you are bringing these conversations home to your bigot aunts, your transphobic mothers, your homophobic fathers, everyone who is part of your family who has brainwashed you for hundreds of years inside of your ancestral line, for hundreds of years, brainwashing you with the idea that Black people do not need to survive in this earth. So when it comes to the idea of influencers, to bring it back to your question, I think that all influencers and everyone on this earth, and I stand firm on that belief, have a duty, because it is a quote that our ancestors have said, and it is an amazing Black woman that has said it. Everyone has a duty to fight for our freedom. Everyone has a duty to win. We must love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. So, yeah.
I just caught the Holy Ghost.
And that was
off
Asada
that one.
Shakur, if anyone was wondering.
Wow, that's really
Beautiful woman.
For sure.
There's nothing else that could top what was heard here. I want to thank my guests for being so thoughtful and just being so in tune with today's conversation. Every one of y'all contributed a gem, a dime that I'm sure our viewers are gonna pick up and follow with, all right? Especially with quotes, all right? And I'm sure I would love our folks to comment what do y'all think is in the briefcase, all right? With that being said, thank you to my guests. I'm your host, Lamont Carolina. Please check us out on Instagram at Do You Know Black, and we'll see you next time on the Do You Know Black Kickback. Boom.